Good afternoon. Welcome to Science Planet. I'm today's host, Zach. And now summer is getting more and more scorching, and now we couldn't even survive without air conditioner. So let's take a look at some specific news on environment and science.
Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg says he will pay $4.5 million to cover some of the lab's U.S. commitment to the Paris Climate Accord. He said he had a responsibility to help improve the environment because of Donald Trump's decision to pull out of the deal.
We're going to cancel the Paris Climate Agreement.
Donald Trump's withdrawal was announced last June and sparked international condemnation, which will make the U.S. in effect the only country not to be part of the Paris Accord. The Paris Agreement commits the U.S. and 187 other countries to keeping rising global temperatures well below 2 Celsius degrees above the pre-industrial levels. As part of the agreement, the U.S. had pledged $3 billion to the Green Climate Fund set up by the UN to help countries deal with the effects of global warming. The money promised by Mr. Bloomberg does not aim to cover this, but the U.S. contribution to the UN's Climate Change Secretariat.
America made a commitment, and as an American, if the government's not going to do it, we all have a responsibility. I'm able to do it. So yes, I'm going to send them a check for the monies that America had promised to the organization as though they got it from the federal government.
His charity, Bloomberg Philanthropies, offered $15 million to cover a separate climate change shortfall last year. It said money would go to the UNFCCC, i.e. the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change. But he's also facing some criticism on this decision which America has made to withdraw.
One of the criticisms of this agreement, the Paris Climate Change Accord, is it's non-binding. It's basically not enforceable, and none of the developed nations who are part of it have actually met the benchmarks they set for themselves. Aren't you concerned that you're throwing some good money after bad?
Look, it's dangerous to keep doing what we're doing. If everybody would do the right thing, yes, it would be better. But if some people or some countries do the right thing, we all benefit from that.
But the criticism is that industrialized nations aren't living up to those pledges.
I can't speak for other nations. All I know is that America, I believe, will meet its commitment by 2025 to reduce greenhouse gases by an agreed amount. And if we do it, hopefully other countries will do it as well.
Now, ironically, some are doing something reversely. Representative Luna Smith of Texas, the Republican who heads the House Science Committee, has long been skeptical of global warming. He's accused government climate scientists of doctoring climate data and called the UN's climate reports, quote, more political than scientific, or part of what he called the climate change religion in the Wall Street Journal op-ed. But those views may be increasingly out of step with what Republican voters actually think, because the new analysis finds a majority of Republicans across the country would actually support regulating carbon dioxide as a pollutant. As for the overall consensus on whether climate change is indeed a thing, half of the Republican voters think the climate is being transformed, although far fewer think human activity is what's responsible for the changes. The study is in the journal Climatic Change. And we got an interview of study author Matthew Mildenberg of University of California, Santa Barbara.
I think here the picture that's emerging is that the public has a lot more appetite and would have a lot more tolerance and interest in seeing political officials act in the U.S. on this than you'd think just listening to some of the debate and rhetoric that we hear at the federal level in the United States right now.
But perhaps that rhetoric will start to change as climate reality makes the politics of denial a little too hard to handle.
Actually, whether you believe or not, climate per se is changing. And environment is one of the important issues on science and technology. Now let's take a look at some pieces of newsflash.
More than 40 companies have signed up to a pact to cut plastic pollution over the next 7 years. The firms, which include Coca-Cola and Astor, have promised to honor a number of pledges such as eliminating single-use packaging through better design. They've joined the government, trade associations and campaigners to form the UK Plastics Pact. The signatories are responsible for more than 80% of plastic packaging on products sold through UK supermarkets. One of the promises which companies such as consumer goods giant Procter & Gamble and Marks Spencer have signed up to is to make 100% of plastic packaging ready for recycling or composting by 2025. The Goldman Environmental Foundation announced the 7 winners of 2018 Goldman Environmental Prize on Monday. The annual award is presented to environmental heroes around the world in recognition of their significant achievements to protect the environment. Han Ai is among the 7 recipients of this year's award, honored for her efforts in using scientific research and engaging Vietnamese state agency to advocate for sustainable long-term energy projects in Vietnam.
Rất ít người, thậm chí là không có ai có.
Highlighting the cost and environmental impacts of coal power, she partnered with local officials to reduce coal dependency and move forward to a greener energy future. She's also the first Vietnamese honored with this prize ever. Wisconsin, the United States' #1 producer of cranberries, have come up with a new method on calculating the production of their harvests.
The current approach for estimating cranberry yield is literally to go out into the field and hand pick and hand count all of the cranberries in 1 square foot area. This is obviously a very inefficient and laborious approach. There can in fact be up to 900 berries per square foot.
So scientists from Ocean Spray asked Hackness for help. And she and her team found in the lab test the zapping cranberry plants with microwaves, and then starting the signal that bounces back might just work. The team presented their preliminary results at an IEEE conference earlier this year.
That will be all for today's Science Planet. Thank you for watching. And if you want to know more about science and technology news, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube and Instagram channel. Thank you.